Time moves forward then jumps back, so when call it deja vu after seeing it again. Misconception of the brain as you try to comprehend. Clear the false notions from your path, my friend. Things seem much different than they truly be. Thus is the nature of reality. Simply can't trust everything that you see till you know the nature of reality.
The following notes can be taken as seriously as you see fit, whole or half-heartedly, or discarded utterly. I hope this finds you well. Now is the time when we write the liner notes. Now is the time when you read the liner notes. This album was composed on a Ouija board. The guitar, the pick, the knobs on the amplifier, the settings on the mixer, and the faders in the recording software are letters on a Ouija board. Sometimes all of those are united with a will to contact the internal realm, and to capture the imprint of notes, melodies, and rhythm found there. The realm is flawed, the receiver is flawed, and undoubtedly the translations are dodgy. However, we are unable to provide a discount at this time.
A few years ago I bought some sound files, binaural beats files, that were sold with the purpose of transforming your brain by inducing sympathetic vibrations of different wavelengths via the headphones.
To my surprise, after a few listens, there was a very distinct awakening of a channel from the base of my spine to my head. CT. Some years later, the effect remains, and I have utilized some of that energy in the production of this album.
As the blind man said to the elephant, your mileage may vary, but I know which end the asshole is on.
So maybe it's just imagination and wishful thinking on the part of Barry Stock.
But I do hope this finds you well, and I hope that if some of that energy is conveyed, you find it helpful. To provide some space between the cathartic spasms of this quasi-benign brain modification strategy, there are transitions. Barry Stock, Oakland, California, June 3, 2024.
Man or machine? Whose side are you on, buddy?
Well, there's two different things going on. Yeah, I have my son encouraged me to buy this piece of equipment called a machine, Maschine, and I got that about 2.5 years ago when we moved out here, and I used it, and I recorded a bunch of things, and then they just kind of sat there, and then when I started, and then of course I started recording things more seriously with the guitar and with GarageBand, which is what I use to record with. I have Logic, but I don't use it. And then, so I put out one album with Jay called New Wave Disco Ambulance Driver. That was my first one. And then I also, and then I had a bunch of other stuff, and I had new stuff that I had done. And then I also had these recordings that I had done with the machine interface. And I decided to go ahead and break up the record and make it a little more palatable, I think, because it's not so in your face all the time with the guitar. And so I used those transitions to get from one place to another. And so, I'll be frank, I use the computer in my work all day, every day. I have since 1987. Pardon me 1 second, I gotta stop this. And then I also, as far as guitar goes, I'm fairly straightforward. I don't use a huge effects rack or anything. I have an amp and I have a guitar, and I have 3 effects that I use, but I'm fairly minimalist as far as guitar goes. So, and I play bass, so I do my own recording with that, and then I use GarageBand to do the drum tracks and to um, do the mixing. And I do for some of the stuff on this new one. I did record using the amp simulations that are built into GarageBand, but a lot of them were also done with this. I got this new Boss amp that's got a line out that, and it's got also a computer interface so you can change up the sounds on the amp with the software. So I use both worlds, and frankly, from a music standpoint, I digitized all my CDs. I had like 600 CDs back in like 2004, and I needed to make a mortgage payment, and I couldn't, so I sold all my CDs. But I ripped them into iTunes, the brand new Apple iTunes interface, and I've been pretty much digital since then. I mean, I have a turntable, but I have like 10 records. I just, that's, I don't have an issue with digital technology. It's a different way of working, is the best way. Like, if you like that way of working, I think that, it has a charm to it. But for me, I'm fairly compact. And so I have my laptop, and I have my, I have a mixer with a USB interface that's got some compressions and EQ, and I just use that, and I record at 24-bit, into GarageBand, and I have not had anyone complain about it, about the sound quality. I'm pretty careful. I do have a pair of studio monitors. They're not anything. They're just a pretty straightforward pair of Rocket 8s, but you know, I'm careful.
You're a one man or half man,
Yeah.
half machine show. You sort of bring out a laptop. You have this like compact setup. I don't know your living situation. You said you moved from Florida. You moved from Florida to California.
Yeah.
Like all these things are become a big part of like people, like how their music turns out. The job, the housing, the things.
Totally.
So how do you think that's reflected in the actual music itself?
Oh, big time, because I live in an apartment, and we've lived in an apartment since my wife and family. We've lived in an apartment since 2018, 17, when we were renting a house, and then it got sold. It was some friends of ours owned it. And so we've lived in apartments. So that kind of, you have to modify your way of working. You have to be, headphones, and I can't play guitar loud because I got upstairs neighbors that are going to complain. So you either adjust to it, or you rent a practice space, which is expensive, but I just, it's just, for me, would I prefer to have some musical partners? Yeah, I would, but I'm 59, and it's hard the older you get, the harder it is to meet people who are actually willing to just go out and make an effort to make new music. Because it's work, and the pay is nothing. The pay is less than nothing. You pay, you end up making nothing. And, that's one reason I like Jay and Mutant Sounds, is because Jay's a DIY, and Jay is awesome. We split the money, and we sell a few records, or sell a few recordings, digital recordings. Fantastic. And he sends it around to people, and it got played a lot. The first album got played a lot on Mike Watt's show. I think he played almost every track on it. So hopefully that'll happen again. I'm sure we drove a few sales with that. And I'm not under any illusions. That's why I don't press CDs or make albums, because I played in bands in South Florida, and the guy who would make albums, and then and make CDs, and the vast majority of them are sitting in his closet, and that's just the way it is.
They imagine success. There's something about success, but they have no idea what it would look like And then
Yeah.
by the time they figure out what it is, they've already
Yeah.
had it gone.
There's just saturation. There's just so much shit out there that, like, even for me, I think my biggest challenge is actually figuring out keywording and how to describe my music, so that when I go to put it up somewhere, how do I describe this so that the people who would be interested in it would find it?
You want something that reflects the record and a personality or something. And your liner notes are one of the things, like the combination of the liner notes and this photo and the album. That's like something that works. Like that's you got me.
Yeah, it's, what you see is sort of a reflection of me, for sure. I'm not making any effort to at commerciality because it's just not there. I feel like I had to put something out that I don't have any regrets about, even if it reaches less people for some reason. But if I want to put a crazy photo on the cover of me photoshopped into this whole photo and write some liner notes that might say some stuff that freak people out or whatever because they're a little strange. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's a difference between people who say they don't want something because they feel like they can never have it, and somebody who just doesn't want it. And your behavior is very telling. They're not like, they don't understand what it's like to just like, it's good old fucking punk rock work ethic,
and I would, obviously I would love for as many people to hear it and enjoy it as possible. But that's that's secondary. It's almost like, for me, that I feel like it's necessary for me to make this music so that I have something that I am personally invested in and that I can wholeheartedly say, yeah, that's my work. And I'm not something I'm doing with somebody else or something I did for money or something that, I'm less than 100% behind.